So, as you can tell from the title, I have never played a Borderlands game before, and with the recent release of Borderlands 4 being pushed to me on every app I own, it kind of got me interested in the series, but it felt unfair to jump straight into the fourth game without experiencing the others first. So let's jump straight into it, shall we? Obviously, because Borderlands 4 is being pushed by every app I use, I am of course well aware of the recent controversies of that game. But it was interesting to find that even when the first Borderlands released, it had its own controversy. That controversy being the accusations that Gearbox stole the art style from a short film named Code Hunters, directed by Ben Hibben, that came out in 2006. It is probably important to state that the game came out in 2009, which is the peak era for shooters that had that brown filter over everything. So when people saw Borderlands' unique hand-drawn art style with pops of colour everywhere, it was a really big selling point for the game. In interviews, developers had even stated that they actually changed the art style very last minute from the realistic brown that every other game had to the new art style. The reasons they gave were that they had decided that the old style wouldn't differentiate themselves enough from other shooters, and it didn't match the theme and atmosphere they were going for. Now, this excuse was okay at first, but that wasn't until people actually discovered what Code Hunters was and started accusing Gearbox of copying that art style. These accusations were made worse when Ben Hibben came out and said that Gearbox had actually approached him to direct cutscenes, but he said no, and even specifically said in an interview that he did not give Gearbox consent to use that art style. As far as I can tell, Gearbox met these accusations with mostly silence, and the game released to critical acclaim, and the series would eventually go on to become what we know it as today. Now, considering other controversies that Gearbox has had, especially regarding their CEO Randy Pitchford, this controversy is actually pretty tame. I'm sure all of you have heard about the recent Borderlands 4 controversies, Gearbox possibly putting spyware in their games, and Randy's controversy regarding a certain USB stick containing possibly illegal and not safe for work material on it. But that's all a story for another video. Moving on to the story now, the game is set on the planet of Pandora, which is known for not being the nicest place to live on, being filled with gangs, bandits, and no real government to keep these gangs in check. The planet is also rumoured to have something called the Vault. The Vault is, well, a vault that is believed to have been put there by some ancient race of aliens and is rumoured to contain wealth beyond anyone's imagination inside. You play as one of 4 characters that are known as Vault Hunters, with the obvious intention of finding the vault. However, it isn't just gangs and bandits that stand in your way to get to the vault. A large weapons manufacturer known as Atlas are working to seize control of Pandora and take the contents of the vault for themselves. Fast forward to the end of the game, you open up the vault and it's revealed that the rumours were false, and the vault is actually containing a giant monster which you defeat and the game ends. And yeah, the story is nice and simple, and it's good that it's that way because the main draw to this game is the gameplay. But we of course can't talk about the story without talking about this game's unique comedy. I once heard a quote saying that one generation's cool, edgy and funny is the next generation's lame, boring and cringe. And for most of the comedy here, that is true. Now keep in mind, I did say most, not all. There are still some genuinely funny jokes, but those are very few and far between. Because of this, the comedy can really start to drag after a few hours of playing, but like I said before, you won't be playing this game for its story, but for its gameplay. Speaking of the gameplay, it's good. But it's a little dated, and I do have some gripes with it. So let's start off with what's good about it. The basic gameplay loop of looting and shooting is pretty solid. It's an older game and Gearbox's first go at this genre, so they haven't quite perfected this style yet, but it has some good bones to build upon. One thing that I am really unsure about though is the car mechanics. It tries to kind of copy Halo's controls, but doesn't have the smoothness or vehicle physics to really make it feel all that amazing. But thankfully you don't have to use these vehicles all that much in the base game. The gunplay itself can also feel a little weird at times. It's kind of hard to explain unless you've actually played the game before, but I guess the best way to put it is that it feels outdated even for a game that came out in 2009. Getting stuck on geometry is also a really big problem in this game. I played as the character Lilith, who has the ability to turn invisible. Whilst invisible, you can't jump, which is a problem, especially on certain terrain. But after a few hours of playing, I got the hang of what terrain to use her ability on and which terrain I should avoid using her ability on. Really stuck on the floor here. Fuck's sake. The game also has some pretty aggressive depth of field, like when you aim it looks like a fog wall has just been placed in front of you and you can't see dick from pussy. Luckily you can turn this off in the settings menu, and for an older game it actually has a lot of settings that I'd like to see in modern games, and some modern games are even missing. To sum everything up here, Borderlands 1 is good, but definitely has some minor issues which I'm sure they address in Borderlands 2. Anyway, that's it for today's video, bye.